Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about concealers. If you've seen some of my past videos, you know that I have dry skin and my under eyes love to crease. Now, if you're like me, you know that most powders cause the under eye area to look like the Sahara Desert, and that is a huge problem. It will age you by like a bajillion years, and nobody wants that. So I'm going to talk to you about how I prevent that and keep my concealer looking nice and smooth. First of all, when trying to prevent your under eye from creasing without drying out, you need to focus on really good skincare. Prepping the skin and priming the skin are really important. You want to keep things hydrated but not super greasy, so you need to find that right balance of what works for you. I have found that just using an overall moisturizer and skipping an eye cream during the day works best, and then using a pore filling primer like the No Problem from Touch in Sol. That one is my absolute favorite. Next, what's most important too is how you use your powder. Now, powders can be a serious struggle for those of us with fair skin because there's so many powders out there that claim to be translucent, but they're not, and they have some color to them. And then you have these strips of yellow under your eyes that look all dry and crackled and nasty, and nobody wants that. So it's really important to find good powders, but then also use them in the correct way. So I have found that by placing powder only directly on the actual line itself with a very small brush prevents the rest of my eye from looking like a cake fest. I also use just a very, very thin layer right where those smile lines and crow's feet kind of pop up, because I'm very expressive with my face. And if I don't powder that, that will also kind of crease on me. And so you want just a really fine, light layer, no baking, no nothing, because that's going to be a disaster. Some powders that I really like are the RCMA No Color powder and the Ciate London powder. Now, I've heard from some people saying that those are too drying for them, but when I use them in really small amounts, they're really great and have no flashback. So I want to talk about 4 concealers that play well with powder. They dry down matte, but they're not too overly drying, at least for me. So I have 2 from the drugstore and 2 that are a little more high-end. So whatever your budget is, you're gonna find a concealer that you like, hopefully. The first one that I really like is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define. Now again, a lot of people have said that it's too drying for them, but if you prep the skin ahead of time, this works really, really well. It dries down nice and matte without looking cakey, in my opinion. I've had really, really good results with this. There's no flashback, it plays well with powder, and it has 50 shades. So you are definitely going to find a match for you. And my match is C2. I really like C2, the way that it kind of highlights my face a little bit but blends in with my skin tone. And it's just a great concealer, in my opinion, for a really bargain price. You can get, let's see, it's $7 for 0.11 ounces, or you can get the super size, which is $10 for 0.45 ounces. But, little warning, the super size only comes in 24 shades, which I think is stupid. They should just put them in the full 50, because all those other people want a super size too, I'm sure, if they love this concealer. My second concealer from the drugstore that I absolutely love is the Milani Conceal and Perfect. This one definitely is more creamy than the Conceal and Define. It's a little bit more hydrating and dries down matte, but has a little bit more of a satiny finish. It's a little less matte. This, I think, is one of my all-time favorite drugstore concealers. For me, it just dries down so beautifully. It does not cake up with powder. It stays put all day. It does not crease. I am in love with this concealer, and I use the shade 110 Nude Ivory. The Milani Conceal and Perfect is $8.99 for 0.17 ounces, and it comes in 18 shades. The next concealer I'm going to talk about is a little bit more expensive. This is the Dose of Colors Meet Your Hue Concealer. This concealer I received in my October BoxyCharm and I have fallen in love with it. It is seriously amazing. I'm wearing it today in this video and it's just a dream. It's definitely a little bit more expensive though. Dose of Colors Meet Your Hue is $24 for 0.25 ounces. It comes in 30 shades and I'm in the shade Light 08. This, like the others, dries down nice and matte. This blends in with the rest of my makeup so beautifully and you really don't even need much powder with this at all. It sets itself in such a beautiful way so that you can use even less powder, just a tiny bit of powder for me on my crease lines, and this will stay put for forever and I love it. Last but certainly not least is the OG fave, the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. This is a godsend, except it's freaking expensive. At least I think it's really expensive. It's $30 for 0.22 ounces, which I did the math, that comes out to $136 per ounce, just a fun fact. It comes in 30 shades and I use the shade Vanilla. This concealer, I'm sure everyone has heard about it. Everyone's heard the hype. Because it's so expensive, I typically only use it on special occasions and on days when I really want to look super nice. But in my day-to-day life, these other concealers that I've already mentioned do such a great job that I really don't feel the need to use this constantly. But if I want to really treat myself and amp myself up, it's just beautiful. It's so creamy but dries down really nicely, stays put, doesn't crease, plays well with powder. I'm kind of saying the same thing for all of these concealers. They are all really nice and they meet those criteria of what I'm really looking for in a concealer for my dry, creasy under eyes. When it comes to concealer, I need pretty good coverage. I like medium buildable so that I have some flexibility with when I use it. But if you don't know, I'm a NICU nurse. I work really long hours and I don't get a ton of sleep, so girlfriend's got dark circles under her eyes. So I really like to have a decent amount of coverage, and I feel like each of these concealers that I've talked about give me pretty decent coverage for what they are. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to leave me a comment and tell me what your favorite concealer is and how you prep your eyes to prevent that dreaded creasing or the Sahara Desert from happening. Thanks for watching. Bye!